How has mathematics revealed the three-dimensional structure of the human genome? The DNA in our bodies has two strands, twisted together in a double helix shape. It looks like a twisted ladder. Let us think about it for a moment. Why does DNA have two strands instead of one? And why is it twisted instead of being straight? Mathematics gives us answers to these questions. With two strands, even if one is damaged, DNA can use the other to restore the information, which makes it much safer. The helical shape also allows a large amount of information to fit efficiently into a small space. It also helps the two strands separate easily when needed and come back together without getting tangled. In other words, the shape of DNA is a very efficient and logical structure. Then how did people understand such a complex three-dimensional structure? It began with understanding a curve called a helix. Curves such as helices, circles, and ellipses have been studied for a long time. In ancient times, people built devices that used helices to lift water. During the Renaissance, a person named Dürer carefully studied how to draw helices. These studies also helped improve technologies such as screws. Later, mathematicians studied vibrations and waves, which led to a deeper understanding of helices. They described how a string moves when it vibrates and studied how waves spread. During this process, a mathematical tool called the Bessel function was developed. This function explains how light or waves spread in round structures such as cylinders or helices. This leads to another important question. How can we understand very small structures that we cannot see directly? Scientists used X-rays to study materials and observed the diffraction motifs that appeared. These motifs are not just pictures. They are clues about the internal structure of the material. With mathematics, we can interpret these motifs and infer the hidden three-dimensional structure. This method was also used to reveal the structure of DNA. Franklin took X-ray images of DNA, and in images of wet DNA, clues of a helical shape could be seen. However, the images were very complex, so it was difficult to be certain. Watson, however, interpreted the image differently. He thought, "This is a structure with two strands twisted together," and began building a model with Crick. In a very short time, they completed the double helix structure of DNA. Why did Franklin and Watson interpret the X-ray image so differently? Crick had already studied physics and understood mathematically what kind of diffraction motif a helical structure would create. He could interpret the image not just as a picture, but as a mathematical signal. Today, even more advanced mathematics is used. With a method called matrix decomposition, we can break down complex DNA structures into simpler forms and understand them more easily. It is like breaking a complex puzzle into smaller pieces and putting them together. However, it is difficult for humans to analyze all this information on their own. So artificial intelligence, AI, is used together. AI based on math can process large amounts of data quickly and reveal the three-dimensional structure of DNA more accurately. Now, let us return to our first question. How can we understand the structure of DNA that we cannot even see? The answer is mathematics. Mathematics is a tool that helps us see what is invisible and make complex things simple. Perhaps DNA is saying this to us. If you want to understand me, try thinking with numbers and curves.